In this video, we take a closer look at the inevitable clash between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. After his historic performance at UFC 300, Pereira will face his toughest test in form of Magomed Ankalaev. And Magomed has a second chance to earn light heavyweight gold. Don't forget, back at UFC 282, he fought versus Jan Blachowicz to a draw. Now he has the opportunity to win the title, as well as Pereira has the chance to show the world that a dominant wrestler is not going to end his reign at 205. We will take a look at the development of Pereira's defensive wrestling, as well as his ability to get back to his feet. The way he has to win this fight is obvious, but still he might have a better chance to do just that than people might think. As for Ankalaev, we will see why actually his striking is going to be his biggest strength, as well as his obvious path to losing this fight. If you find this confusing, just sit through with me till we reach this point in the video, and I will explain it to you. Let's start out with the takedown defense of Alex Pereira. Obviously this is his weak point, but he still made improvements in this area. Back at UFC 281, he got taken down multiple times by Izzy. He displayed somewhat questionable grappling IQ when he tried to trip out Izzy only to land on bottom. During his fight versus Jan Blachowicz back at UFC 291, he got in trouble for holding on to a guillotine choke for too long. After that, he showed solid back defense. In a potential fight with Ankalaev, he should not be worried about submissions from the back mount because Magomed will probably ride him in order to land ground and pound. He got taken down by Jan but showed also the ability to get back to the feet. When he faced Yuri Prochaska at UFC 295, he went again for the guillotine. Despite coming closer than in his fight with Blachowicz, he still couldn't finish the submission. Prochaska high crotch lifted him, and so he ended up on bottom again. After negating some ground and pound and Yuri advancing to half guard, there was finally an opportunity for Pereira to get back up to his feet. He propped up to his elbow and used the fence to get back up. To win this fight, Alex has to knock out Magomed Ankalaev. But back at UFC 281, he knocked out his arch-rival Izzy in the last round despite losing the fight on the scorecards up to this point. So there is definitely a chance for Alex to win this fight. Now let's take a closer look at Magomed Ankalaev. He got 4 KOs and 2 TKOs in his 13 UFC fights. There might be a chance that he will try to stand with Pereira in this regard. He made the questionable decision in his title fight back at UFC 282 to stand long enough with Blachowicz till his legs were severely compromised from the leg kicks. When he felt the fight slipping away, he resorted back to his wrestling base. This led ultimately to the draw between the two back in 2022. Mixing his striking with the wrestling is the recipe for Magomed Ankalaev's success. It is an old but effective blend of fighting styles. The opponent gets under severe pressure when he has to be aware of the striking techniques as well as the possibility of Magomed changing levels for a takedown. His biggest asset is the way he can time his attacks. This was especially shown in the way he got some of his highlight reel finishes when he climbed up the ranks. When he fought his way deeper into the top 10, he showed a tremendous performance countering the entries of Volkan Oezdemir and blending his striking with his wrestling. Back in March 0th 2022, he got dropped by former title challenger Thiago Santos. In the break between rounds, he made a good recovery and fought his way to win a decision. In a pure striking contest, Ankalaev would get destroyed by Pereira. If he decides to stand with him, it could lead to serious consequences. Instead of the calf kicks from Blachowicz, he could get caught with a left hook to the chin to lose the fight. But more likely, he will blend his wrestling with his striking like mentioned above to really peak in his performance. This could lead to a similar situation as when Khabib dropped Conor back at UFC 229. The threat of the takedown opened the window for Khabib to land on the feet. On paper, Ankalaev has the perfect style to beat Pereira. He is not only an elite wrestler, he also has a very underrated stand-up game. He should be able to take down Pereira and control him till he can unleash his ground and pound. But don't count out Pereira yet. If there is a person with the ability to one-shot KO Ankalaev, it is Pereira. When Ankalaev shoots on him, he hopefully does not chase the guillotine like he did against Blachowicz and Prochaska. Back at UFC 300, he figured the timing and movement of Hill out in about 3 minutes. Most likely Ankalaev is going to wrestle Pereira as soon as the bell rings. The only thing easy to predict in this fight is the fact that Magomed Ankalaev is the betting favorite. But how this fight plays out, we have no idea. It all depends on the game plan of Ankalaev, if the decides to stand some time with Poatan, how the developments of Poatan's takedown defense have developed, and if he can avoid doing some rather risky techniques like going for a standing guillotine choke instead of defending the ongoing takedown.